It's time for another installment of Flashpoint. This week, News 6 anchor Justin Wormuth sits down with guests from Beacon College on how the school has transformed the lives of thousands of students with learning disabilities.
Good morning, I'm Justin Wormuth. Beacon College of Leesburg is the first institution of higher education in the country exclusively serving students with learning differences. Since its founding in 1989, the school has transformed the lives of thousands of students with diagnosed disabilities. And joining me today on Flashpoint, we have Dr. George Haggerty, Beacon College president. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Rosalind Johnson, and you are a counseling therapist. Good morning.
Good morning.
And current student Sarah Tarlowski. Welcome to Flashpoint, guys.
Good morning.
Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Haggerty, first off, tell us about Beacon College and how it serves students with learning disabilities.
In 1989, a group of courageous and visionary parents got together and realized that their sons and daughters with average to high average intelligence who had a learning disability, ADHD, or another learning difference could experience and benefit from a college education. So they founded Beacon College in 1989 as the first accredited four-year institution exclusively devoted to students who learn differently.
Every year, high school students stock their mailboxes. They're always wondering which college I'm getting into. Is the college search more challenging for students with learning disabilities and ADHD?
I think the college search, because there's such a diversity of institutions now, and that's the power of American higher education is our diversity. There's such a diversity, I think it can be challenging for any family because you're looking for the right fit. But for students who learn differently, who may have a learning disability, ADHD, who may be on the autistic spectrum, what they really need to look for, and it's particularly important, is that in that fit they have the services that they need.
Can you talk about the college experience too with those students that go to Beacon College? Is it, people know the University of Florida, FSU, is it something like that as far as the setting?
So the important feature here to remember is that Beacon College is fully accredited as a four-year institution just like any other college or university in Florida. And so we have to meet the same standards of rigor that any other institution has to meet. So there is a curriculum. Our curriculum is a traditional undergraduate curriculum. It's a residential community, so we have housing on campus. So the students who come to Beacon have a traditional undergraduate experience with a few differences. One is that we have a learning specialist model. So the day that a student gets to the institution, they're assigned a learning specialist who is their advocate, their mentor, somebody who will assist them as they go through their 4 years and to ensure that they will graduate successfully. The other piece is that we teach multimodally in the classroom. It's about mastery of content. It's not about how you learn. You may be a visual learner, an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner. And those features are all blended into the way that we teach in the classroom.
Obviously, transitioning from high school to college is a big deal for a lot of people. How is the college transition more challenging for students with learning disabilities?
Again, it gets to that fit. For many of the students, in the K through 12 experience, they've been through a special education program. They may have had an IEP. They certainly probably had a psychoeducational evaluation which kind of directed where they're going in their K through 12 experience. Much of that stops in higher education because the legal requirements are not the same. The institutions that are successful for these students are the ones that provide the appropriate support all along the way. So there's an important question that students and their parents need to ask when they come. What is the graduation rate for students with learning disabilities? What is the program of support that's there? And how involved are the faculty in training for working with students who have a learning disability? Because the truth of the matter is, I've been in higher education for almost 35 years. The truth of the matter is that higher education is generally oriented around this notion of a neurotypical student. And the truth of the matter is there's neurodiversity in every institution. And what Beacon does is recognize this neurodiversity.
Dr. Haggerty, thank you. When we come back, we're going to hear from both former Beacon College student Dr. Rosalind Johnson and current student Sarah Tarlowski on what Beacon has done for them. Stay with us. Welcome back to Flashpoint. This morning our guests are from Beacon College in Leesburg. The school serves Central Florida students who have learning disabilities. And Dr. Johnson, earlier we were talking about how the school transforms lives. You were told you may never even speak without electronic assistance. Fast forward to today, and you are the first Beacon graduate to earn a PhD and are practicing counselor. What has Beacon done to transform your life?
Well, Beacon really helps to prepare students to be able to self-advocate for themselves once they leave the college, and also provides them with the confidence and the skills to be able to understand their learning disability better, as well as the accommodations that they need to utilize once they enter the workforce and once they're also a student at Beacon. So Beacon helps them to further understand their learning disability, and also provides them with the self-confidence that they need to be able to be successful working adults once they graduate.
All right. And Sarah, you're our current student, and you're studying business management at Beacon.
Yes.
How do you like it so far?
I like it so much. It has been such a great opportunity for me. I can't even explain how awesome it's been.
And how's it been different from high school to now college? Has the transition been easier than you thought?
It has been. For me, I went to a public high school and public elementary school, so it kind of was a big difference. In high school, you kind of have to really go out there and like find the support on your own. You have to hunt it down. And for me, coming to Beacon, the support is just all around you. It's everywhere, and they're all there to support you and just be there to help you on your journey. All
right. And Dr. Haggerty, Florida ranks among the worst at graduating students with disabilities. That number is just over 52%, pretty staggering. That's compared to just under 80% of students without disabilities. What can Florida do to be different?
Well, I think that Florida is starting to take some steps through the legislative process to begin to improve that. But the fundamental piece here, and I had written a piece in the Huffington Post about this, the law promises many, many things to parents and students. And one of them is that they will have an individualized educational program that's very appropriate for them, and I'm afraid that many times we fall short of that. So if in fact we can appropriately evaluate a student and actually put the program in place that would be required for them to advance and to succeed, that would be a large step forward. And basically in every state, I have to tell you, this is a lot about finances.
All right. A recent survey found that 7 out of 10 educators, parents, and the public mistakenly link learning disabilities with mental retardation. Dr. Johnson, why do you think the public makes such an erroneous claim? Why do you think they think that?
Well, I believe part of that is due to lack of education on their part, not truly understanding what learning disabilities are, and getting that confused with intellectual disabilities, and not understanding the difference that individuals with learning disabilities are very high functioning, and that they come in various, forms and the types of disabilities such as auditory processing, ADHD, high functioning individuals who are on the autistic spectrum, and just being able to truly understand that someone with an intellectual disability is not going to have the same IQ as someone with a learning disability. Someone with a learning disability may have deficits in communication or social skills. However, they are highly functioning. They have a high IQ. So part of that is just re-educating the public and re-educating teachers and other people out there that people with learning disabilities are not, the same as individuals who have intellectual disabilities.
And Dr. Haggerty, you were just talking about how the Florida legislature in the past 2 sessions passed measures to enhance opportunities for the disabled. And, your take on the direction that Florida is taking, is it the right path?
I think Florida is starting to take a leadership position. And they've done it in several steps. The first piece that was passed, and I think we all have to extend our gratitude to the Senate President, Andy Gardner, for what he's done in the leadership here. But in the first year, there was a push to help with the finances. Parents worry, what will happen to my son or daughter with a disability when I'm no longer in the picture? And so they developed some legislation that will make it far easier as parents transition out of the lives of some of these students with disabilities who become adults with disabilities. And then this year, there were a number of efforts that I think will really make a difference in both the financing of educational programming, in the scope of educational programming, and as well as some work to motivate the employment sector to hire individuals who have disabilities.
And we would end on this note right here. If some of our viewers are watching and they say, hey, this is right up my child's alley, how would they go about getting in touch with the school, going with transcripts and that sort of a thing? Can you explain that process?
Certainly. They would come to our admissions office, come to our website, beaconcollege.edu, and we will very much look forward to having as many students. We're in the business to help students with learning disabilities and ADHD, and I think we do an excellent job at it.
Dr. Haggerty, thank you. Dr. Johnston, thank you. Sarah, thank you for joining us this morning on Flashpoint. We'll be right back with more news and weather in just a few minutes.